with the impeachment push now reaching a record new level. In a major escalation of rhetoric, Judiciary Chairman Jerry Nadler, a New York Democrat, for the first time announced publicly just what is happening. Watch.
This is formal impeachment proceedings. We are investigating all the evidence. We're gathering the evidence, and we will, at the conclusion of this, hopefully by the end of the year, vote articles of impeachment to the House floor, or we won't. That's a decision that we'll have to make. But that's exactly the process we're in right now.
With us now, Guy Benson, the host of The Guy Benson Show on Fox News Radio, and Richard Fowler, a senior fellow at the New Leaders Council. Both are Fox News contributors. Richard, up till now, Jerry Nadler has sort of privately exhorted Nancy Pelosi to move forward with impeachment. Apparently, he hasn't gotten anywhere with that. She's been pretty reticent to talk about impeachment or to say that it should happen. Is this his way of making that public push?
I'm not sure if that's his way of making a public push or not, because I think this decision will come down to what the Speaker decides to do on what bill hits the floor. And like I've said before, and I'll say it again, this is a game of two things. One, it's a game of what happens in the court of public opinion, and number two, it's a game of math. And whether or not the House decides to move forward with impeachment proceedings, you still need 67 senators in the United States Senate to vote for an impeachment. And right now, those numbers just don't exist. And I think Speaker Pelosi understands that very well. And while it is a job of the House to provide oversight, they should continue to investigate. There just don't seem to be the votes in the Senate to get an impeachment motion through, which is why I think the Speaker is so reticent to do it.
Guy, should more House Democrats listen to that interview with Hillary Clinton from last summer? She said you don't take impeachment lightly, and she knows from personal experience, having obviously suffered through it in the 90s with her husband Bill Clinton, but also she served on the House Committee for Impeachment, House Judiciary Committee that impeached Richard Nixon.
Yeah, you know, I can understand, John, why some Democrats might be reticent or reluctant to take advice from a woman who felt like she didn't have to go to Wisconsin or Michigan in 2016. But in this case, I actually think that she's right. But we're way past that advice. All the advice that she gave there in the soundbite was sound and has been ignored by a lot of these Democrats, in particular Jerry Nadler. I don't know what the heck he's talking about, saying this is a formal inquiry. It's not. And Richard was talking about math. Let me remind people of some math. What was it, 2 weeks ago? There was a vote on whether or not to pursue a formal impeachment inquiry, and the vote was 322 to 95 against, more than a 3-to-1 margin. So I think Nadler, in this particular case, he understands what the math is in reality. He also sees polling. Emerson had a new poll out last week. The #1 priority of Democrats, still, the base, is impeachment. So he's trying to placate some dum-dums by telling them this is happening, when in fact it is not. Words have meaning, and he's wrong.
Is that all this is, Richard? Is this Jerry Nadler and some other Democrats trying to placate the hardliners in their party who really want to see the president impeached?
I'm not sure of that. I mean, I think what we saw in Volume 2 of the Mueller report was a couple of different instances where this president obstructed justice. With that being said, once again, I think this is a debate for the court of public opinion. And right now, what House Democrats lack is the court of public opinion. The public is adamantly against impeachment, probably because there is a likelihood that people think they could beat Donald Trump in the 2020 election, which is where I think we should beat him. If you have a problem with this president, register to vote, go vote, and vote him out in 2020.
Guy, he mentioned the Mueller report. The Judiciary Committee under Jerry Nadler is suing Don McGahn, the former White House counsel, saying they want him to come appear before their committee. He spoke for 30 hours to the Mueller investigator.
Yep.
And, you know, we all saw the report. What more do Democrats on that committee want?
You know, I feel like we're in reruns here. Richard and I were on this show together just a few weeks ago talking about the exact same topic of impeachment, and we keep bringing it up because the Democrats keep stepping on the rake and insisting that we all talk about it when it's not working for them. They can talk about Don McGahn. They can fulminate about all this stuff that they want. We had 2 years of a thorough investigation, a lopsidedly Democratic, donor-heavy Mueller team. They came up with no evidence of collusion. They made no recommendation on obstruction. And we've all seen the Mueller report. It's been out there now for months at this point. And the notion that Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff are going to come up with some new evidence on this front that Mueller couldn't find, Okay, guys, good luck.
Guy Benson and Richard Fowler, let's hope we're not talking about the same thing 2 weeks from now.
We probably will be.
All right. Thank you both.
We'll have to see what happens.
Enjoy your weekends.
Good to see you,
You
John.
bet.
Thanks.